the job if you're in town. Later on we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid the plans that we made. Walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland. All right.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity in Chicago. My name is Kathy Mathis, and it is my pleasure to welcome you here. In Unity, we do bless and embrace people of every lifestyle, culture, and creed, and we honor and celebrate the many paths to God and the many names for God and the many ways to experience God. And we come together every week to celebrate that spirit of light, love, and laughter that lives inside each one of us. We know that everyone is here by divine appointment, so thank you for being with us today. Thank you for being a part of our community and our energy during this service. As we start, we like to share our daily word with our brothers and sisters around the world. And today's daily word is love. It is my nature to love. The love of God flows through my heart to the hearts of others. When I am a conduit for love, I recognize the divinity in all beings. I honor their lives, and I want only the best for them. Following Jesus' teaching to love one another is easy when I cherish people dear to me. However, I am also called to appreciate those who are different from me and even those who hurt or offend me. Loving as Jesus loved means to accept all people as expressions of spirit, regardless of their actions, choices, or abilities. They are the beloved of God. Love lives in me. It flows from spirit, and I share it with others. As I love, I am fully alive. I love because it is my nature to love. And from John 13:34, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you. And now we have Reverend Heidi.
Yes, okay, good morning. And Merry Christ Hanukkah Kwanzaamas. Yes, so whatever you're celebrating, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that we can all come together as spiritual family and celebrate this season of light, love, and laughter. We do it all the time, and so and that daily word is so profound in that love really is this energy that's flowing through us. And even though it's really easy to feel love when we're with people that we get along with, that our real mission and certainly this new consciousness that Jesus brought is how do we love when we feel conflict, when we feel a sense of being offended or whatever it is we're experiencing. So that's what we'll be about today, is how do we really be the love that we were born to be. We had a really interesting week. We've had a lot of contemplative time. We had our Taizé service on Friday night, and I think Char's the one that, Brian and Fred were here earlier, but Char, why don't you stand and let us thank you for being such a big part of that. Thank you. And if you haven't been to the Taizé service, it's every second Friday. It's at 7 o'clock, and it's a wonderful time because, we really get so busy. We're kind of a culture of busy. And to stop not only feels a little strange, it is, though, the essence of how we listen to this still small voice. We can't listen to it when we're, moving faster than the speed of life. So Taizé is great. And then we had a day of silence yesterday, and we had a wonderful group of people, with some people that weren't really sure if they were going to make it. But so far, I've never seen anybody die at a silent retreat. But something in them dies, the story of how I don't know if there's something inside of me to even hear. And so we had a beautiful time of, 20 people kind of came and went. But we'll start doing that at least on a quarterly basis, if not every other month, because it was a beautiful experience, and I really honored those of you that came and gave yourself that gift. We also had a lady that came to do yoga in the silence, so we will also incorporate that in our silent day. So a number of things upcoming. First of all, right after this service, we're having our Christmas luncheon for everyone. So come and be part of the community. We love to eat and talk and have fellowship together. And so that's our Christmas time together, one of the many. And then after that, I know many of you have been really honing your skill and your talent because we are having the variety show afterward, and we have something like 20 plus acts. So thank you all for sharing your creativity and just being willing to get up on the stage of life and say, here I am, and here's my gift. And so do come. It's at 2 o'clock. If you can't make the luncheon, come back at 2 because most of the acts are pretty darn funny. So what's Christmas if we're not having joy and laughter? So let's see, what else? Oh, Christmas Eve. Okay, well, before that, the volunteer dinner is this week. It's Thursday night at 6:30. Somebody came a week early, and we had to say, come back next week, but because we were having our prosperity class. But it's 6:30 this Thursday. It's catered, and many of you have volunteered. If you volunteered in any capacity, we really want to honor you. But we need you to sign up because we need to know how many people are coming. And it'll be a wonderful time with a fireplace in the Sunshine Gallery. So come and be part of that. And then our Christmas next week, of course, we'll celebrate joy at 9:30 and 11:30. And we invite you to wear anything that is like you have in that closet that represents Christmas to you. Go on and wear it. If it's ears, if it's something red, whatever you want to do. Somebody said they had this angel outfit they hadn't worn for years. I'm like, wear it. I don't care. So anyway, next Sunday, will be your opportunity, and we will love you just as you are. Yes. All right. So then Christmas Eve at 6:30, we'll have our story of the story of Jesus' birth, the whole experience of that story. We'll sing Christmas carols, will be intermixed. We have a musical extravaganza. Of course, we have Peter Polzak and Bill and Sarah. And then our singers are going to be Maggie Bynum, Tom Logan, and Suzanne Parker. So it's going to be a real amazing musical extravaganza. 6:30, it'll be a candle lighting service also, so please come, and we'll have cider and cookies afterward. And then New Year's Eve will also be here at 6:30. We'll have a burning bowl service of letting go of what you'd like to release in that fire, and sometimes we have so much to release, we have a major fire going on, but that's great. And then after that, we're going to write a letter to God. So you will give it to us, and we will be God's messengers to send it back to you in 6 months, and you'll be amazed how you are the manifester of your life. So this Wednesday night, we will have Larry Conlon making lasagna at 6, and at 7:30, we are going to have a wonderful family that we're going to talk to. Carl Branch, Michael... Patrick Fahey and their son Donovan are going to talk about how they've come together as a family, play together, and obviously pray together. So we're so glad you all are going to be part of our Wednesday night. Yay, that's right. Say yes. So we'll just come and really, your family helps us all be in our family. So it's a beautiful thing. All right, so I'm going to go in and light this, our candles, our Advent candles, and we know we had, put on your sweater as we're coming together in our Mr. Rogers energy of light, love, and laughter. So we had one for faith and another one for peace, and today's candle is about love, all right? And so in our world that we're creating today, we can say, I am the light of the world. And look at your neighbor and say, you are the light of the world. I know some people have two neighbors, right? And so, I know, we light a fire around here. Okay, and then we say, we are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. All right, and focusing on love as your divine inheritance and your way of life, why don't we all rise and say to one another, Thanks for being the love that you are. All right. Thank you. So you might have forgotten to say that to yourself this morning in the mirror, so it's good someone said that to you. And now we get to say, I am full of myself. Very good. You're looking pretty good. All right, we're so blessed today. You all just get ready for, really receiving love. Our Higher Ground Choir meets every Tuesday night. They have worked and allowed and had so much fun in bringing us this great music that is the music of their heart. So without further ado, let's welcome Higher Ground. Now there's an example of a community that works. Yes, wow, thank you so much. And what's fascinating, every time I talk to anybody from Higher Ground, they go, we're having so much fun. Right, so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, y'all are such an example of love. We were quiet a long time. We could just sit here and stare at each other, right? So there was a postman that was delivering all of these Christmas gifts and cards, and he arrived at this house and he saw these letters close-pinned to the mailbox, and one of them said, "To God." And he said, wow, so he's getting the letters, and he didn't want to open it, but it fell onto the ground, and the letter fell out and opened, and he said, okay, so we started to read it, and it said, "Dear God, our family's a little tight on money this year, and we'd love $20 to buy gifts for our son." And the postman thought, oh gosh, that's so sweet. And he said, so he looked in his pocket to see what he had, and he had $15. So he put $15 in the envelope, and he closed it, and he wrote "From God" on the envelope, and he put it on their mailbox. So a few days later, he sees a letter that says, "To God." And, okay, so he's thinking, maybe this is for me. And so he gets the letter, and he opens it. And the letter said, "Dear God, thank you so much for the money for the gifts for our son. We so appreciated it, and it's really made a difference for us. And but we asked for $20, and we only got 15. And we're not blaming you, God. But you never can trust those crooks at the post office." Our Christmas mistakes, yes. So, you just can't take this life personally, number one. And number two, Christmas is a fascinating time of, it's like the whole world's having a party. It's really exciting and really fun. And we'll talk about today how it can be a little confusing, and how we really want to be sort of grounded in the truest message of what this time of year is about. I hope you're having fun. Merry Christ, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and that you're doing the things that really work for you and that are fun for you. And whether it's an old tradition or something new. Moving here, I went to the Kris Kringle Mart. That's a lot of fun. My name's Heidi. I feel like I just need to braid my hair, and here we go. So that was fun. And then Friday night, I went and saw A Christmas Carol at the Goodman. And if you've not seen that, you got to go. It is fantastic. It's just fantastic. So that was great. And then Sophie, my dog, went and saw Santa. That was kind of a new tradition for us. And see, here we go. So, yeah. So Sophie and Santa, and she didn't even have her Christmas dress on. She just went like herself. So I hope you're having some fun and making up some traditions and doing the things you enjoy and not doing anything that you feel obligated just because you want to be with each other. And I think that's really why we come here, certainly every day, every Sunday. But Christmas time especially, that we remember, what it really feels like to just be in a community where people say, thank you for being the love that you are. And that we really say that to each other, and we mean it. And it feels sort of, wow, this is how I do life and friendship and interaction and family and community. And this may be something new for me, because my family might not have felt like that. My job may not feel like that. Communities, past churches may not have felt like that. There was a lady that came yesterday for the Silent Day. I'd never even seen her, and she said, I love the feeling in this community. Rosie was there with me when she was talking, and we're both just standing there going, how special. I didn't do anything particular. She just is here with you all and with all of us, and to hear people say that, to me is, why we keep doing this. So Christmas is a time that many of us have experienced. I've had 56 Christmases, and they've all been a little different, depending on who was around and what was going on in my inner self at that time. And but so however you grew up around Christmas may be something that's enjoyable for you, or it may be something that you're still trying to release in whatever way. So I love children's ideas about everything, because you just get the pure, unadulterated truth. And so there were kids in England that were asked about a number of questions about Christmas. Ellie, 5, when she was asked what presents did they bring Jesus, she said, 3 wise men brought Jesus gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but there were no real presents. I really feel sorry for him. Another girl from England, of course, said, I don't know what the 3 wise men brought Jesus, but they probably should have brought a bin of biscuits, because that's what Joseph and Mary would have liked, and probably Jesus too. Let's see here. I don't know what presents the wise men brought Jesus, but a Lego set would have been the best. So I love this. Ruby, 6, when they're asked what animals were around when Jesus was born, she said, at his birth were oxen, donkeys, 3 camels, 3 birds all white, and 3 cats all black. We don't know. And this one's really great when it says there were camels, donkeys, and a crocodile. Okay, but I love Elijah 9 when they're asking, why do we celebrate Christmas? And she said, well, we go to church, but I'm not really a Christian because I believe in unicorns and pixies. So, it's sort of all over the place, right? And who knows what you would have said at 6 or 7 or 8 about your idea of Christmas. I know for me, it was more of a traditional religious upbringing, and I always loved the colors and the songs and the food and the smells and happy people hugging each other and all of this kind of thing. But I never could really understand, after many years of the same story, that there was just this one child that was born that had all this responsibility for saving everybody, and that I felt that I needed to be saved in the first place, and then that I had to manufacture some kind of relationship with this guy, and if I didn't, things were really going to be bad. So I just kind of kept singing and doing what I was supposed to do, and hoping that someday I'd figure it out. Did anybody sort of have a similar experience? I didn't, and I knew that it was a really holy story. And so I felt bad about having a question about it. But that's why unity, and I'll say that I was in a lot of trouble around my own spiritual connection because of the confusion for me around that story, and that it was this personal relationship with this man that was my salvation. And, I didn't really have a very good relationship with myself, so I certainly couldn't have a very good relationship with Jesus, and I just didn't get it. And so I did a lot of what I think a lot of people do in religions. You just do what people tell you to do, and you sort of follow your flock, well, we're going here. And I always looked across the street. We went to the Episcopal Church, and there was a huge Baptist church across the street, and I thought, what are they doing over there? What are they talking about? Is it the same thing? And that's why kids are so valuable, because after a while, we just start following along and go, this is how it is. But when you're young, before you've just kind of given up, you want to question, what is going on with the Baptists? What are the Jewish people up to? Wasn't Jesus Jewish? I loved Wayne Muller, who came and said, Jesus probably never met a Caucasian. So what is this all about? And so we're really in a question, I think, all the time on this spiritual path. And so I'd like to just tell the story, and the story that we know. And unity, the difference with unity is that every story in the Bible is a story of your life. I really loved that there was, now I can relate. I can relate to feeling cherished. I can relate to feeling abandoned. I can relate to feeling clear. I can relate to feeling confused. And so then it became a book of life. And that's what we teach here. And it's a wonderful way to live. It's not as let's say, easy sometimes because we're not a victim. We don't need to be saved. You know, we're bringing the love that we want. We're bringing the compassion we want. And so it's a whole different way of doing life. You know, I think people say, you know, I didn't have as much responsibility when I just sort of was sleepwalking through this thing. So, okay, so let's look at this story, all right? So here's Mary, a young Jewish woman, and she is visited by an angel. Angels, you know, sort of represent these divine messages, and she is told, you are favored by God. And in that moment, she felt a little afraid because she didn't know quite what was next. You know, many of us, when we're sort of getting these messages of what we're supposed to be up to in life, it feels kind of confusing. But angels are very persistent. Yes, they are. And so this angel said, be not afraid. And it seems that Mary got over it pretty quickly. I'm not quite sure. You know, we do this, you know, really, it's interesting all the things that were told to her in that moment. Hang on one second. Got to get past my funny children. Let's see here. Okay. So, all right. Greetings, favored one, the Lord is with you. But she was very perplexed by this statement and kept pondering what the angel meant. But as I said, the angels don't give up. Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. And behold, you will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you shall name him Jesus. And he will be great, and he will be called the Son of the Most High, and the Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign in the house of Jacob forever, and his kingdom will have no end. And Mary said to the angel, you know, how is this going to happen? You know, I'm a virgin. And the angel said, the Holy Spirit will come to you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you, and for that reason the Holy Child shall be called the Son of God. And I'm sure Mary was like, gosh, I was just about to make a bowl of matzo ball soup. What happened here? You know, and I y'all are much better than the first service. They didn't get that. Anyway, so the point, you know, right, that you know, here's this young woman, she's betrothed to Joseph. So I would think her next question was, you know, how am I going to tell my betrothed that I'm carrying God's child? It's just not the usual dating conversation, you know, thing. And so she says yes, you know, she says yes to this huge responsibility of, you know, maybe she was thinking about going to college or, you know, having a regular Jewish life with her husband Joseph. But so she says yes, and then I can imagine how it was telling Joseph, you know, calling, okay, can we meet for coffee at the deli, you know, and got something to tell you. We got to talk. You know how that goes. And then Joseph sort of going, you know, Mary, if you have another boyfriend, just tell me, you know. And Mary having to say, no, I've had this, you know, calling. This thing is happening to me. And can you be on board with me? And I see that, I always think, you know, Joseph was the guy with the real faith in this story. You know, because he just had to go, well, okay, I'll be sort of a, you know, distant part of this story, but sure, you know, let me do this thing. So they get married, and then they go to, they have to leave Nazareth to go to Bethlehem to register in Bethlehem because that's Joseph's home. And so they go, and they want to relax and have a baby, and, you know, pregnant woman walking across all this, I mean, I guess she's on her donkey, but still. And so they get to the inn, and there's no room, I guess in Israel, no hotels.com, you know. So Joseph might have been nice, but he wasn't a very good planner. And so that doesn't work. So then they go, and they have this child very simply in a manger, and most children come when they want to come, right? And so it worked out. And then we know that there was, you know, this great light and this great consciousness that was born, and wise men come with gifts, and crocodiles come, you know. And but this idea, now they say the three wise men, well, maybe you've heard that three wise men come a little later, and they bring gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now, I don't know if you've heard about the wise woman story in here, that if there were three wise women, they would have asked for directions. They would have arrived on time. They would have helped with the birth. They would have cleaned up afterward. They would have brought casseroles. And they would have brought practical gifts, right? Okay, maybe you've heard this. I know this about women. Yes, we do these things. So it's a story of the universe, God angelic presence coming and giving a message to a young person. And her being afraid and unclear, but then agreeing, saying yes. And then she needs to tell her family or friends that this is her mission. This is what she's been born to do. And it really wasn't what she planned. It feels bigger than who she is. But, you know, I've said yes to this. And then she travels from an old consciousness to a new consciousness for this to happen. What they expected, the place for it to happen, didn't happen, but the world worked out another way for it to happen. And it happened very simply and very sacredly and very serenely. And then people came and said, congratulations, here's some gifts. So, like, what story is this? And can you relate to this story? Because it's all of our story, right? I mean, it's all of our story that we are going along in life and something hits you, like you're supposed to be in the choir, or you're supposed to write a book, or you're supposed to do a play, or you're supposed to be in this relationship, or you're supposed to have a child, or you're supposed to paint a picture. You know, and it comes, it's not like the thing that people do often, I don't have the education to do that, or I'm too old, or something, I'm not smart enough, or whatever. But the voice doesn't care. You know, it doesn't care about all your reasons why you can't do your thing. And we know how these angels work. You know, first it's a little tap, and then it's a whisper, and then it gets a little louder, and pretty soon it's a 2x4 on the head. And we've got to know Mary was pretty evolved, because pretty soon she said, you know, okay, matzo soup can wait. I'm ready. Here I am. And she allowed this ministry to come through her. And that's really what we're doing here on this planet. And then it didn't work out exactly as she thought. You know, maybe there is the book you want to write, and you go to this publisher, and it doesn't get published. But you don't give up, right? Then you go somewhere else, and you may self-publish, or you may have a child, and you expected, you know, this child to be interested in these things, and they're really interested in these things. And, you know, you wanted to, I loved watching Peggy Lipschutz, who just turned 96 this week. Yes, where is Peggy? I think she's at the last service. Well, we'll have to send that love to her. But as we watched her in her documentary film, as she's painting this picture, it was coming through her. You know, I mean, I'm used to painting, you know, like color by, you know, spot. You know, one painting goes here, and two, you paint green, goes down there. And you can see that it's just was coming through her. And that's what Mary had said yes to. And so we know that we need to say yes. We need to be willing to have people like Joseph in our life that aren't, are you kidding me? You know, but are really like, I can see that for you. And that's what we do in this place we call unity. And that's what we call prosperity, is holding the vision, holding each other's vision. And that's why a big part of your mission is that you got to talk about what you love. There was a guy that had a bookstore at our church in Kansas City, and when I met him at a 12-step group, and at the minute I met him, he just wouldn't stop talking. He was like, I've got a line of greeting cards, and it's all about, it's my own art, and it's got all these great messages. And I'm like, great. You know, I mean, like 15 minutes later, okay, yay, I'm sure that'll show up somewhere in the world. Oh, my God. Anyway, and so so the next time I saw him, it was the same thing. And pretty soon somebody said, you know, we want a bookstore at our church, and do you know anybody that does cards? I'm like, yeah, I know somebody that does cards. Here's his number. You know, but he needed to talk to me about it. See, so there was a lady in the prosperity class on Thursday night that wanted to manifest something, and I talked to her, and I said, have you told anybody? And she said, no. And I said, so tell me how you are at receiving. And she said, not so good. And I said, okay, so that's your exercise, is I am good at receiving. So let's practice that, and then maybe you can tell a few people what it is you want, because somebody's got that exact thing parked in their garage, and they're not using it, and it's gathering dust, and every day they look at it and go, gosh, I wish I could give this to somebody. Right? So that's what this life is about when we say yes. All right. So we have trust, we have faith, we're willing to, if one door is closed, there's a window that's open, and we're also willing to let this experience be born. And we know babies being born are messy, they're noisy often, they're unpredictable, and they're the most valuable thing that has ever come onto this planet. We're all here. And I don't know about you, but you can't look at a baby without going, something in you, you were there, and you had that sense of wonder, and there's crocodiles at the manger. It's just like you're just making it up, and you are. So yay you. All right. So if we look at Jesus was all about love. We're talking about love today, and in fact, I called the talk Born in Love. If you go to the doctor and you say, I want a love test, they're going to go, well, we can't find the love on the x-ray. Because the deal is, love can't be grasped or seen or bought or controlled. It just can be felt. It can be expressed. It can be received. And it's that sense of you can't see it, but you can feel it. So Jesus was he was an expert. Now he was gone for many years, and unlike many of us in our teenage years, I think he went and studied and meditated and became very clear about what was capital T truth. Right? And so this love, this confidence of who we are is what allows this Christmas birth. Christmas is Mass, is celebration, and Christ, so we're celebrating Christ consciousness. And if you know who you are, and we're learning all the time, then, the Red Sea will part for you. And that's how it works. So we have three ways of love, which is this idea of loving, and I would even say knowing yourself. We're on this great quest. This silent day was fascinating, and I think we get nervous about coming to a silent day because I don't really know if there's anything in here. And if I stop talking, I may prove to myself, which was what occurred to me the first silent retreat, that there really isn't anything in here. But you find the exact opposite, that everything's in here. All your stories of how life and people and things are not the way they're supposed to be, you can see that it is your own thing that you're hanging on to that, weirdly enough, is the way you reject yourself. It's strange, and you won't get it until you're quiet. How could you? Because the whirling dervishes keep going. But when you stop, it's like, I am a part of this. I must be, because I'm having the experience. And I know that it took me a long time to say, the common denominator in all my challenges is me. Oh, I hate that. But it's a fascinating way to live. So, because Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. So yourself is like the first experience there. Also love yourself as I have loved you. So he was very confident about who he was. He also said, and a lot of people hang on to this one, that you can't know the kingdom of heaven unless you come through me. Wow, talk about ego, right? But it wasn't ego. It was like until you experience this consciousness of freedom, you won't feel free. You'll be in the race war, in the ego challenge of the love that we can do, as human beings, which if you act like this, I'll love you. Or people may say to us, if I act like this, you're going to love me. And then if I don't, then you don't love me. And then if we live like that, we're going to have about 1,000 personalities, right? I'm going to act like this around you, and I'll act like this around you, and I'll act like, So loving ourselves is this anchor. And I'd say loving yourself by recognizing your gift. What is it you enjoy? When I talk to people, people want to have this profound, what am I want to cure cancer. I'm like, well, that's great, but perhaps you're interested in science. Perhaps you're interested in wellness, right? So that's where we want to really be with is what is mine that I just feel confident and compassionate about. Obviously, Jesus' mission was to see the heart in people and empower them. And he wasn't like codependent nice. It was like, pick up your mat and walk. He was very much know who you are and get this thing together because you're only here for a certain period of time. Gosh, they really cut his life short. and I'm only here for, like another year, so let's do this thing. And this is Jesus, not me. Okay, all right, yeah. But the point is that he really wanted people to get it and not waste their life. And that's what we're here to be about. He would allow the blind to see. He raised the, sick, the dead to life. He invited people to get on their journey. And I think if you think about it, you have all done that. You've helped people that were confused see what they couldn't see. You've inspired people to do the thing they weren't able to do. You've certainly raised people that felt really depressed by just saying, I see the love that you are. We're already doing this stuff. We just want to really invite ourselves to remember it. Okay? So loving others, if you ever complain about traffic, just know you have lots of people that are there to help you wake up. Yay! All right? So we are all here. When I go and do silent retreats and meditate, I feel like I could stay there forever, right? Because I don't really have to talk to anyone, and it's amazing to see how everybody gets along, really. We have a few basic rules. The bell dings, you go here. The bell dings, you go there, and everybody gets along pretty well. But our opportunity is, how do I recognize that you see the world differently than I do? You may be the one that had the crocodile at the manger, and I need to honor that for you. I don't need to tell you that's not how it happened, because how do I know, right? So the point is that how do we really stop long enough to see and consider how other people see the world? Because if we do, and that's why I love the interviews and talking to people, because I get to see, that Connie had all the adopted children, foster children. She's a physician, and she's gone from, Western medicine to Eastern medicine, and now I understand who she is, and now I have this relationship with her. So I invite us, as we're all here in our oneness, to spend some time this season, and if you want to be about love, to talk to people about who they are and what they're about. It's fascinating. And finally, the other bit, I wanted to just share the little story about others when we think about Martha and Mary. Because Jesus went to Martha and Mary's home, right? And when Jesus shows up, if Jesus showed up, we'd probably pay attention to him, right? I mean, I would. Like, what do you have to say? He's one of the people at that table of people I'd like to have when you think of the table of people you'd like to talk to. But Mary, being, Jesus is here, I'm going to go sit at his feet and listen to what he's got to say. But Martha, as many of us, was in the kitchen cleaning, because Jesus may look at the kitchen. So she's in there cooking and getting ready, for consciousness, rather than just being in consciousness. And then Martha is mad because she's like, Jesus, you're talking to Mary, and I'm the one working. And Jesus said, there's only one thing you need to know, Martha, and you missed it. He's not codependent, the guy. He said, Mary is here, and she's involved. She's showing up. She's in the interaction, and you're sort of preparing for the interaction. But you just be here, and be you. And this idea of somehow we need to be mad at people, and every time I'm mad at anyone, I always recognize there's something more that wants to evolve through me. I really know that. I wish it happened faster for me, but I know that's true. And our next piece of loving the world, because we're all about service, as you can't keep it till you give it away, as they say in the 12-step program, that as we have the gift of this kind of living, we want to share it, because you can't keep it until you share it. So you all have probably heard about the fellow. This was a poem written in the 1800s by a anthropologist and a philosopher about a man that got up after a storm and went to the beach. And he looked down the beach, and he saw this woman. She looked like she was dancing. And he got closer to her, and he noticed there were all these starfish all the way down the beach. And she was picking up a starfish and throwing it into the water. And he said, what are you doing? And she said, well, I wanted to save that starfish. It's not going to make it here on the beach. And he said, yeah, but there's a huge beach and millions of starfish. And how do you expect to help them all? And she limped down and threw one starfish back, and she said, I helped that one. Yeah? So y'all have heard this because to me it's the greatest example about how to just do one simple thing that means something to you. I went to Mexico last week. People have to do these things. You have to take a break. It was actually tricky to say, I got to take a break, but I did it. And one of the ladies that I was traveling with suggested going on a sea turtle release. And it was nighttime at the beach. I thought, well, okay, what are we going to do? But anyway, so we go out, and the deal is that there's a nonprofit down there in Puerto Vallarta that the mom turtles come and lay their eggs up on the beach, right? They dig the sand and they lay their eggs. And then basically the baby turtles have to, once they hatch, get out to the water. And they're often eaten by various creatures. And, God's plan, I don't know what was happening with this plan. But anyway, so that was kind of funny, y'all. But anyway, so the point is that this nonprofit now takes these eggs and puts them in sort of a sanctuary with a net around it and puts a little board in the place saying the date so they know because it's 60 days that these little creatures are going to hatch. So we went and met this wonderful woman that is all part of this nonprofit. We may tithe to them eventually. But so we were the ones that were going to put the turtles in the water. And it was told to us, only 3 out of 100 make it. And we're like, well, whatever. So we're going to be there for that 3. Yay. Right? And so it was fascinating. If you look at this is what so here was our bucket of the 100. There was only 3 of us on the tour because usually they only give you like 10, but we got to release all of them. So here's all these baby turtles, and that was probably 2 groups of eggs that had hatched. And there's Katie that, of course, had set the thing up. But here's that little bitty turtle. I am sure he made it. I am sure. But anyway, so we went down to the beach, and the lady with the flashlights, we had to put all, just 2 or 3 at a time, the turtles on the sand, and there they were going. They knew what they were supposed to do. They didn't have to go. They were all, I guess, females. They didn't have to ask directions. But anyway. So anyway, but they all knew where to go. They knew what was going on, and the power, of these little bitty fins just reminded me, of all of us, that we're all born in this vulnerable place. We all need help. We're all so perfect. We're irreplaceable and unrepeatable. And after all those turtles ran to the water, I could barely sleep that night because I felt like I was just part of something, just doing my little part. And it just it was such an energetic experience. So I invite us as we're going to be this love, that we're really recognizing that Jesus said, big time, these and greater things shall you do. And so we're all here to carry on the Christ consciousness. I know that if he came here, he'd be like, good job, everybody. Because we're doing it just by showing up at a place that's about freedom and not needing to have the name of being anything as far as a separation comment. I'm a child of God. I'm a child of the universe, and therefore I don't inherit sickness. I have inherited the kingdom of heaven. So as little tiny Tim said when he got on the Scrooge's shoulder after they did some healing, he said, God bless us, everyone. All right, so give yourselves a hand for being born. That's it, right? Hey. All right. So we are going to breathe in, and we're nice and toasty here in our experience of heating up that love. So we're going to just breathe into this idea of listening. We know Jesus really listened. And he left the crowds often to remember this calling that was his divine inheritance. Mary said yes and allowed God to be born in her and through her and as her. And so we just reflect on a vibration of love. And I'd like for you to hold something in your mind that gives you the feeling of cheer, of joy, of love. And whether it's the music of our choir or something from your past, an activity that brings you great peace, something you loved as a child, some funny story you heard. And just allow that energy of your own manifestation of love to fill your body. To just feel it and feel that sense of that young child in wonder, looking at the lights and the colors and the trees and the music, people that hug you. So sweet. And we allow that energy to fill our bodies. And let's radiate that white light out to your neighbors by whom you're sitting. And fill up this sanctuary that has housed people for many, many years. And now we're here. And let this light spill out of the sanctuary into our parking lot and garden. Just bless this place. It's such a holy, holy place. And then allow that light to spill out into this wonderful city. I've heard that Chicago gives you a hug. And so allow this light to go out and bless everyone that's whatever they're doing today. And then we spill that light out across this country of ours, the United States, and blessing all races and creeds, religions. Allow that light now to go out across the ocean, go north and south, and east and west. And we cover this beautiful Mother Earth with this white light of wellness and peace on earth. And we see that white light covering this planet and then coming right back into our parking lot, our garden, filling the bottom of this church, and then bringing it right up into this sanctuary and right back into your heart. And we feel the sense of the massiveness of just keeping your heart open. So we breathe into that place of starting out with the thought of something that feels so sweet and precious and joyful. And we breathe in with Peter's soothing and relaxing music. Right here and right now. we are renewed by the transformation of our mind. We allow this Christmas 2014 to be different than all the others. We allow ourselves to see through the eyes of our teacher and way shower, Jesus, who became Jesus Christ in his awakening, and in his resurrection, Christ Jesus. And we're all Christ, and I will put our name in there as we walk this path of faith and peace and love. And we let our light shine before all people so the whole world sees a little bit better. Thank you, Spirit, for this divine and perfect group gathering of great souls. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin as me. Thank you, Spirit, for all of our gifts. And so it is. So we'll sing together. Gretchen will lead us in a song into a singing prayer.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen.
As we're here in this sacred space, as we prepare to be born in love through Christ consciousness, by receiving and giving and the gratitude, each of us come here to unity with conflict, with struggle, and we're here as your prayer chaplains to come to us and speak of whatever is on your heart, to raise above the conflict and to be propelled into the Christ consciousness. We invite you to speak the names of those you would like to hold in prayer in this sacred space. We hold our beloved community in our hearts and prayers. We hold our minister, our board, our staff, our volunteers in this powerful prayer energy, and we bless each one of them. May our peace and oneness bless our brothers and sisters around the world. And we thank God for prayers already answered. The prayer chaplains today are myself, Sue Ellen, Rosie, and Jeff.
Good afternoon. Unity in Chicago is a tithing community. 10% of all we receive goes back out into the world for good. Because of your conscious giving during the month of October, we are tithing over $9,000. To make a difference in our community and in the world. Each month we tithe to Goldie's Place, which came out of our energy here at Unity, a support center in our neighborhood for people who are homeless. Goldie's Place is the only program in Chicago offering a broad range of employability and employment services, clothing for interviews, and free dental care all under one roof. We're tithing to Unity Worldwide Ministries, our parent association, and also to Silent Unity, our round-the-clock resource for prayer. In this season of giving, we are tithing to these three organizations that all of you have also been generously contributing to in our Compassionate Christmas Project. Centro Romero, an organization focused on bridging a disenfranchised community of Latino immigrants and refugees into mainstream American society. To Care for Real, a food and clothing pantry serving Chicago's Edgewater community, and the Night Ministry, providing housing, health care, and human connection to Chicagoans struggling with poverty or homelessness. Our next tithe is to Project Fierce Chicago, a grassroots collective of radical social workers, housing advocates, and young people who are working together to establish identity-affirming transitional housing in Chicago. The group's mission is to reduce LGBTQ youth homelessness in Chicago by providing transitional housing and support services to homeless LGBTQ young adults. Finally, a little closer to home, we're delighted to present an annual tithe to those who nurture this beloved Unity community throughout the year, the members of our staff. Yeah. This hardworking and loving team dedicate themselves to making this church run smoothly throughout the year, and especially so during this busy year of transition which we've had to our wonderful new minister. A hearty thanks to our staff for all you do. Yeah, that's it. Remember, as always, that tithe suggestions come from congregants. To make a suggestion, please email your suggestion to suggesttithe@unitychicago.org. We know and affirm that our tithes make an impact on individual lives and in the world around us. Please join with me in our affirmation. Together, please. We are making a difference in the world. Thank you. Again?
Good affirmation. Let's say it again.
Oh, sure. Let's
Okay.
say it again. Together, please.
We are making a difference in the world. Thank you, Diane. So beautiful. Thank you. And do, suggest tithe. The Fierce Chicago was a suggest tithe. And so do, as you're seeing in the world, the nonprofits that are helping folks, it's another way to serve the world. It's an email. See? Very simple, put a turtle in the ocean, send an email. It's all good. So we're going to contribute to this from our abundance, from where you've already received. We're giving to this place that we keep going with staff and music and lights and all that we do. So it's our time to celebrate our abundance and celebrate from where you've already received. We give tithes, love offerings at this time. If you would like to give with a credit card or a debit card, we do have a machine out at our Wings of Prosperity. And so so I'd like you to hold your tithe, your love offering in your hand and just infuse it with the love of you, because that's really the energy that keeps this place going. It's been keeping this place going for 25 years, so we just know that generosity and love and appreciation is the key for this community to continue to thrive. So let's say together as we're blessing one of many, many channels of good, as I love to say, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you. Choir.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. All right, higher ground.
All right. Thank you. Glad you're here. All right. So let's us breathe in. Oh, good. Look at you've got to see Michael's tie later after church. Go see Michael's tie. How cool is that? My gosh, stained glass windows and everything. All right. So let's breathe in to noticing things that we love. Michael's tie, whatever it is, something that really inspires you. That's really what prosperity is. That's what giving is. And we celebrate the courage that it takes to know that you have enough and know that you give from that sense of that overflowing cup, and just feel that as you breathe in. Knowing prosperity is just like having plenty of air. We have plenty of everything we need. So let's say together our conscious giving blessing. We are grateful for these gifts of faith and love. We recognize these are signs of our prosperity and highest good. We affirm that God is in action right here and right now. Amen. All right. And before our announcements, just so I don't forget, again, the choir works so hard. You'll see what they're going to do later. But I really want to thank Scotty Zocker for all his time. Will you please stand? Yay! I tell you. All right, so we have Kathy and announcements. Yay! That's all right.
Okay. First of all, our beautiful flowers today were given with love by Michelle Schmall in honor of her mom, June, and they were here at the first service. And Michelle's note says, "To my beautiful mother, who's given me countless blessings." So it was so nice to have her here with us today. And of course, we appreciate June, and we appreciate Michelle and Mark and all that they do within our community. So we thank them for the beautiful flowers. Okay, a few other things coming up. If you would like to receive a relaxing mini session of the bars after the service, you can go up to the Oak Room after the meeting or after the service, and Jenny will give you a little preview of what that activity is about. You know what? Wait, so we said both at the first service, and one was wrong. And it says that there's information in your bulletin, but there's not. So I'm not, she's either in the Sunshine Gallery or in the Elk Room. I'm sorry. Okay, so she's in the Sunshine Gallery. Sorry. Anyway, volunteers are the heart and soul of Unity. And if you have volunteered in the last year, just a reminder, please go sign up at the Wings for the dinner on Thursday night at 6:30. Tomorrow night, our Hamburger Mary Bingo Night is our fundraiser at 8 o'clock, yes. Hamburger Mary's is a lot of fun if you've never been there, so get ready for a night of great light, love, and laughter together. The money raised will help fund our Greener Unity project and will support our effort to save energy throughout the building. The address is in your bulletin. Also, we have our Compassionate Connections, Compassionate Christmas Gift Drive, and we are happy to report that our first agency, Centro Romero, was able to have 150 gift cards for children as they had requested. Yes. So that's terrific. If you haven't had a chance to donate yet, we still have 2 other partners we're working with. They have a table downstairs. You can stop by there today and give a donation for Care for Real or the Night Ministry. So we invite you to do that. And if you are with us for the first time today, we hope you are enjoying our service, and we would like to get to know you better. So if you are here for the first time, if you just raise your hand with me, we have a tiny little gift. Welcome. We'd like to share with you. Over here. Awesome. Okay. Did we get everybody? Okay. Okay. So welcome everyone. And so we invite you also to stop by our welcome table, which is downstairs in our library. Look for the blue welcome banner. And we have a CD that we'd like to share with you to get to know, so you can get to know a little bit more about us. Also, anyone who has any questions, please feel free to stop by and get those answered, because we want everyone to be an active part of our community here at Unity in Chicago. So welcome. And now, let's welcome back Higher Ground.
All right, another hand for these incredible people. Oh my gosh, you all just blow me away. All right, that's whatever you're feeling right now, that's Christmas. You got it. All right. So why don't we close with our affirmation, if you'll take it out, or I'll give you one line at a time, and we can say this together. The first line is, I see with love. I think with love. I move in love. I live as love. I am love. And let's just do this. And I am loved. All right. So let's weave ourselves together and go be that peace on earth that you are. Thank you. You want to just... Guys, she's so cute. Weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together. Weave us together, together, and let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. That God has created, and we all are weak. That we walk within family and perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous path. To take each moment and live each Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all